Hello everybody, welcome back to Belgium, round 13 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the Monster Energy MXGP of Flanders. Well, the first time we came here was back in 1990, the winner that day in the 250 category, old school money of course, 252 strokes. The winner was Pekka Vähkönen from Finland on a Yamaha. We've had 25 winners in total over the years, the most successful of which have been Jorge Prado. He has 3 wins, all in a row, 2017, 18 and 19 in MX2. Tony Cairoli has 3 wins as well in 2010, 11 and 14. But Max Anstey also has 3 wins here back in 2014, 15 and 16. So who will it be that adds their name to the list of riders today? Of course, 2 riders from that list of names I just mentioned a moment ago are lining up today, Cairoli and Prado. And actually, those riders, along with Tim Geiser, are the only guys from MX2 and MXGP lining up today, the only ones to have won a race around this Lommel circuit. Yes, Anstey has won, Herlings has won, people have won, Sean Simpson, but those 2, plus Geiser, are the only 3 riders that have won coming into this round. 1,830 meters long, the racetrack here, and it's a tough one as well, very, very tough. But here's where we've been so far, and this is where we're going. 6 rounds, 2 triple headers, 3 in Belgium, 3 in Italy, to determine world champions in MX2 and MXGP. So, that's where we've been. Before we go anywhere, though, let's take a look at the championship so far.
Zo, het gaat enorm snel. We hoorden het fluitsignaal voor het starten van de motoren hier onder ons.
So anyway, there's a quick look at the championship, but we've got a team report coming up, which is a quick look at the series so far.
With the MXGP Championship moving ever closer to its finale, let's have a little look at the 2020 season thus far.
The season started in Matterley with a hiccup in race 1 for defending champion Tim Geiser. And despite the HRC rider coming back to win race 2, it was 2018 champion Jeffrey Herlings that was top of the box. There was more of the same in Valkenswaard, although Herlings was pushed all the way by Geiser and his newly improved stand skills. But just as the title battle was heating up nicely, tempers were cooled by an enforced 5-month break. It wasn't until August that the paddock could reconvene for an historic triple header in Latvia. Glenn Koldenoff got the ball rolling with a first ever race and GP win for Gas, followed by Tony Cairoli claiming his first GP victory of the season, meaning the 9-time champion has now won a GP every year since turning pro in 2004. Herlings had been off colour but came back to win the final instalment in Latvia, while Geiser suffered mechanical problems to drop 46 points behind the championship leader. After that, it was time for another trilogy, this time in Faenza, Italy. The Bullet with a 1-1 in the first round, but then disaster struck. Herlings with a horrible practice crash, enough to put him out of action for the rest of the season. But when racing resumed later that afternoon, it became clear a very special day for one man.
My favorite memory from the 2020 season for sure will be Faenza, my first ever race win, you know, that one felt special.
A maiden GP victory in the Premier class would have to wait for Jeremy Seewer, but not for Jorge Prado, the 2-time MX2 champion going 2-2 to claim his first GP win in his rookie season, while Cairoli did the same 4 days later to claim the championship leader's red plate. However, that time at the top would last only 1 GP. Cairoli enduring a tough time at the first of 3 rounds in Mantova, including breaking his nose, while Jeremy Seewer took his first GP win at this level in controversial circumstances, after Prado and Romain Fevre were penalised for disrespecting waved yellow flags, and Geiser took possession of the red plate. After that, there was a GP win in green for Fevre, before Geiser finally landed on the top step of the podium.
the overall win in Mantua. That was a nice one, especially after winning so many heat races and then finally winning the overall as well.
From there, the paddock jetted off to sunny Spain, with Prado dominant on home soil, while Gautier stretches lead over Cairoli to 24 points ahead of the triple header in Lommel.
As a child, I was dreaming to become a world champion at least one time. To have the chance to win already the fourth one, it's just unbelievable.
Here's how the championship looks then, coming into round 13. Gautier 24 clear of Tony Cairoli. Seaward 21 further back. Prado is in 5th, and Koldenhoff is in 4th and 5th place for Koldenhoff. But news on Koldenhoff in just a moment. Before we go anywhere, though, let's go down to the grid. Brian Bogers and Arno Tonus caught up with Lisa.
Now, we saw some unpredictable results in that first MX2 race, but we're almost ready for MXGP Race 1. I'd like to grab a few words with Arno Tonus, because we haven't seen you, Arno, since I think it was the first round in Mantova.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now? Just give us an update.
I feel a lot better. It's been really tough because I had some concussion before that crash either, so that's why it took me so long to be back healthy. But yeah, it's a tough sport, you know. Sometimes it goes up and down, but I'm just happy to be here. I'm going to do my best. It's going to be a tough condition today, but whatever, I'm here to race, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, it's good to see you back, but you really don't make life easy for yourself. You're coming back on quite a tough racetrack, aren't you? But having said that, you were quite fast in time practice earlier, weren't you?
Yeah, the lap time was all right, but you know, the race is the main part here. Like it has to be hold on for 30-minute moto. So, like you said, I didn't make it easy on myself, but I expected that. You know, that's what I'm here for, and I'm going to do my best.
Good to see you back.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck, Arno. I'd like now to grab a few words with Brian Bogers. Brian, known to be fast in the sand, and it actually did show in the first time practice we had earlier this morning. How was it out there for you?
It was already tough because they left the track from yesterday, but on one side it's good, especially for the good sand riders. I mean, yeah, it's really tough and going to be a heavy race, but I felt good. I felt good in the time practice, so I feel comfortable with the bike, so I think this is important.
A brand new start straight here at Lommel, pretty fast as well. Where would you say would be the best gate pick?
I think everybody go from first to like everybody in line. So I think it just depends about Glenn. I hope he's okay. But then I will be in fourth I think, or 5th. So, but it's good. Try to get a good jump and hopefully for a good race.
Good luck, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to all the guys. It's time for MXGP Race 1.
For the young guy from Spain and winner.
So shortly after that, as always, the riders disappeared out on track for their sighting lap, their last chance to see the circuit ahead of race number 1. So let's take a look at those qualifying highlights then. They were first thing this morning. A chilly start. It was around about 8-9 degrees by the time the guys went out on track just after 10:30. Arno Tonus got in a time early. It was good enough for 8th for the Monster Energy Yamaha rider. His teammate Jeremy Seewer went out just after that. He would come home in 10th place. Tim Gautier, though, got himself up inside the top 5 for Team HRC. But then Glenn Koldenhoff, who was sitting in 2nd position, he had a fall over on the far side of the circuit. He went down. He needed medical assistance. The red flag came out. Koldenhoff was taken to hospital for further checks. We're still waiting a condition on his injuries. But when we resumed, Gautier Paulin was first on the track, but he couldn't improve on his earlier time, which was 4th. Gautier, though, did move up to 2nd with a time of 2 minutes, 0.4, 1.1 behind eventual poleman Jorge Prado. Kevin Valandren had one last throw of the dice on the final lap, but he didn't improve on 7th. Instead, it was Jorge Prado who was quicker by 1.1 seconds, and he will start from pole today. Here's how the riders line up then. Jorge Prado on pole from Tim Geiser, Glenn Koldenoff and Gautier Paulin, with Brian Bogers going to the line in 5th. Jeremy Van Horbeke 6th, Valandren and Tonus. Then we had Brent Van Donnik, Jeremy Seewer, Romain Fevre, and then Clément de Sal, Ivo Monticelli, Tony Cairoli, Jordi Tixier and Hanno Leok. Leok in 16th position. And then Evgeny Bobryshev, Dylan Walsh, Petar Petrov, Adam Sterry, Michele Chevlin, Carl Webster back from shoulder injury, Valentin Guillot, Freek van der Vlis, and the rest, Tom Kok, Cornelius Tundal, Artem Guriev, Renny Reniko, Manolis Kritikos, Heike Geens, Jose Boutron, Henry Jacobi. Jacobi also had a fall, and not sure whether the German will line up for race 1 or not. There's Tim Geiser, championship leader. Tim Geiser, Team HRC, he's 24 points ahead of Tony Cairoli in the title race. But Jorge Prado, very quick in time practice this morning. Did have 1 or 2 little offs though. One just after pit lane where you go left, right, and then that long sweeping left. He went down there with about 10 minutes of free practice to go. And then during the time practice session, the very next sort of hill, he went down there, lost the front on the way up. Calvin Valandren, though, Geben van Venrooy has been on the podium here in MX2 in the past. And looking very focused as he goes in pursuit of the first podium in MXGP. Gautier Paulin, who was on our studio show yesterday. Feel free to give that a watch if you want. Go to our MXGP.com or, of course, our YouTube channel. Number 3, Romain Fevre, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. Currently 6th in the championship, 29 behind Glenn Koldenoff. And the Jerry man, Jeremy Van Horbeke, Honda SR, Moto Blues. Every rider's dream to ride their home Grand Prix. The Belgians get to ride 3 of them this week. And there's Jeremy Seewer. So from one Jerry to another. Monster Energy Yamaha rider currently 3rd in the championship, just 5 points clear of Jorge Prado. So he knows he's got a tough job on his hand to stay inside the top 3 today. Tony Cairoli as well. No record laps in time practice, but he knows he can get good starts. And that's all he will need just to get off to the best possible start. There's Clément de Sal, Monster Energy Kawasaki, announced his retirement just a few days ago. 3 home Grand Prix for him in the space of a week before we head to Italy in the final chapter of his career. Dylan Walsh, JM Honda Racing, the Kiwi. How good was his time at the front a couple of weeks ago in Mantova? Rolled out of bed this morning across the green and straight into the paddock. That's how close the workshop is. Ivo Monticelli, standing construct gas factory rider, the lone standing construct rider today after Glenn Koldenoff fell in time practice, which forced the red flag to come out. Hopefully Koldenoff is okay. '32, Brent Van Donnik, AC United, Husqvarna, spends a lot of time, well, would have spent a lot of time riding in England this year, but obviously the restrictions, like everywhere else, have forced so many races to be called off and cancelled, but he is here riding his home Grand Prix. The Fly Racing 15-second board up for the first time. MXGP Race 1 about to get underway here in Lommel. The Monster Energy MXGP of Flanders, Jorge Prado up the inside. He is the fastest man out of the gate to the first corner this year. 13 Fox Holeshots, the only rider in double digits. It wasn't a great reaction from him there, but we're going to have a new rider hitting the stripe first as riders go over the bars and almost end up in the restaurant. It's Walsh who leads the way, though. All of a sudden you go from smooth to not so smooth. Paulin offline. Tonus up the inside of him. Prado tips around there in 3rd. So there's Cairoli buried right at the back. Geiser in 2nd position, though. So quite a few riders going down at turn 1. It was like that yesterday in MX 250 and 125. But Walsh leads. Deja vu. Got Gautier behind him again. Prado looking to pounce around the outside. This corner's where he fell in time in free practice. That hill is where he crashed in time practice. Right, the HRC rider alongside the JM Honda rider. Walsh looks across and says, oh, not you again. Gautier probably thinking the same, to be fair. Jorge Prado dancing around the outside of the Kiwi, though. Nips into second place. Ah, Walsh, back end, behave yourself. Paulin up to 4th. And looking to go past on the inside here, bottom of the screen. Walsh to the outside, hanging on to that 3rd. Bogus just there behind him in 5th place in white. Then Tonus. See, we're in about 17th place. He was 13th. There's Paulin around the outside of Walsh. Loses 2 positions. Cairoli was poor around the first few corners. I think he may have got held up in that first turn, you know, because he didn't have a great gate pick, was forced to the outside. Everybody moves to the outside there, going through that new turn. But over the line for the first time. Gautier it is who leads. Prado 2nd, Paulin is 3rd. Dropping downhill now into that corner. The rider in white, Brian Bogus is 4th. The rider in black on the red Honda, JM Honda, is Dylan Walsh. Then the number 4 of Tonus in 6th, Van Horbik 7, Bobashev 8, Tixier 9, Van Donnik 10, Cairoli 11, Petrov 12, Van der Vlist in 13th place, 14th Chervelin, then Siwa, Keogh, Febvre and DeSalle 17-18, Leo Monticelli. So P3, smooth, the message for Paulin. Brian Bogus, Marchetti racing KTM though. Going to be giving him a tough time there, the rider from the Netherlands. And Dylan Walsh down from 5th, just folds the front. Gives you an idea how loose that sand is. So Walsh then picks himself up. And who else? Who we lost here? Oh, Siwa off the side of the track. Oh, somehow manages to save it through the waves. So Siwa was in 13th, he's now in 15th place. As Paulin starts to close in on Prado. And Cairoli's been off through the long sweeper. So bad for worse, and he's behind the 2 Kawasaki's at Febvre and DeSalle, so he's in around about 19th, 20th place. Not going well for the 9-time champ, especially 24 points behind Gautier. Gautier leading the championship chase and the race. Paulin, the fastest rider on track, though. So drama all over the place. I'm sure we'll see a replay of the start as and when we get it, but there's Van der Vlist about to get passed by the 3 of Febvre, and he does right there on the line. Bobashev, PAR Homes, RFX Husqvarna, and Brent Van Donnik, AC United Husqvarna. Both riders locked together in 7th and 8th place. Then we've got Tixier and Siwa. Siwa up to 10th. So manages to do that, and a mistake there from Prado. Prado was on pole this morning, said he liked the track. Just watch this. Whoa. Paulin would have thought, yeah, there's an opportunity at the end of the straight there. Big old 450s around this Lommel circuit, not an easy thing to do. Little dragon back here, throwing you off balance as well, doesn't help. Monticelli's been down. He was in 17th place. Right, Paulin goes long, finds his way into second, closes the door down on the Spaniard, who went 1-1 in Spain a week ago. The gap between Gautier and Paulin at the end of the previous lap, when Paulin was in third, was 3.1 seconds. Paulin did a time very similar. Actually, they were both in the 206s, Gautier and Paulin. Prado was a 207, but only just. So this was Paulin. Just got good drive. Hit that hole, pre-jumped, and then just clipped the top. Nicely done. The gap now 2.8, another 4/10 pulled back by the Frenchman. So he goes after Gautier. Prado looking just to regroup. Walsh off again. Far side by the Dragon's back. Turn 2 into turn 3. Jorge Prado, Brian Bogus just behind him. Was about 6/10 quicker than the Spaniard. So the Marchetti Racing KTM rider in 4th place will be brimming with confidence as he sees the 61 just ahead of him. I think practicing on a 450 and racing a 450 around a circuit like this, completely different. When you're in that racing environment, and it is his rookie season, don't forget. Spain was one of those tracks where 2 Holeshots and he was able to stay out of trouble. Hard pack, the track was very consistent lap after lap. But just taking a little time just to get warmed up. Bobryshev down from 7th place. And there's Cairoli. Wow. DeSalle getting some elbow from Chervelin. Tony Cairoli just off the back of this train of riders. Got Kelly Chervelin just ahead of him there in blue. 7:47 for Guidanelli Racing Yamaha. DeSalle around the outside of Bobryshev as he hits the Dragon's back. Closes the door down on the Russian. Is that Petrov just ahead of DeSalle? I think it might be. Riders changing positions all over the place. There's the 92 of Valentin Guillot. He's around 16th place. Bobryshev not so keen to let Chervelin through, but the Italian goes through anyway. And he goes after DeSalle in the wave section, top of your screen. Look how big those holes are, and Bobryshev does find his way past the 747. So the 2 airlines there, the 777 and the 747. Oh, Bobryshev just loses the back end, so too does Chervelin. And Monticelli down in the waves. So not a good day for the standing contract gas team today. Here's what happened. Oh, yeah, just lays it down. Oh, and gets chewed up as well by the rear wheel. So Gautier currently leads 2:06.0. He's 4.3 seconds clear of Paulin. Meanwhile, Tony Cairoli and Michele Chervelin 14th and 15th here. Cairoli 15th, looking to charge his way down the inside of the Yamaha rider, but no way through. Gonna have to dig deep today is TC. Tenno Leop just there off the back of this group as well. Cairoli will try again. This time, is he more successful? No, not quite. Very nervous looking Chervelin just ahead of him though. Fighting over 14th place. Cairoli. The momentum and the patience, the consistency that you need to get around here smoothly and efficiently is one thing. Having to do it through traffic is simply something completely different. As you can see, You think a door opens up, and it did. Chervelin, though, just ran out of room as Cairoli charged down the inside. But trying to second-guess what the rider in front of you is trying to do, what the bike is going to do, the lines that they're hitting, and seeing the reactions from all of that. Here's Paulin, still there in second. 3.4 adrift of Gautier, who's through that second corner. There's Prado, still in third. Boga's lapping the same as Paulin, Prado ahead of him. Gautier a little bit slower that time around, 207.1. Paulin pulling back a full second. Right, let's take a look at the start, shall we? Now that everybody's picked themselves up, put themselves together. So everybody through on the inside, no problem. But then, as Walsh goes around the outside, one or two riders then, look, get caught. Wow, who was that? 96, that was Carl Webster. And Michele Chervelin. And Cairoli also. So, when I walked the track on Thursday, I thought there'll be people going for dinner without invites. Right. Tixier looks left, Febvre goes right, as we look at it. So Febvre then up into 9th place. Two former world champions, both French. Brutal part of the racetrack here. 13 waves only got added to just at the point where everybody starts to get on the gas, where they're landing off the drop-off. There's Walsh. He's had a interesting race so far. The rider with the Fox Holeshot. Right, Bogas on his own now in 4th place, the 189, the Marchetti Racing KTM rider. Lap times are dropping now. Gautier 2:09, Paulin 2:07, 2.2 seconds between first and second. Prado third, he was a 2:08.0, so 2 seconds further back. Then Bogas at 2:10. There's Gautier, here's Paulin. Paulin, who hasn't won a race since race 1, Valkenswaard 2017. Looking to change that today, urged on by the team and the boss man down there, Louis Vosters. Gautier looking solid though at the front. One thing to catch the 3-time world champion, another to find your way past. And what kind of resistance will Gautier put up if he does get past? Will he come back, try to defend it? There's Jeremy Seewer, he's in 7th, sets his fastest lap of the race this time around at 2:06, so quicker than everybody else ahead of him, including Van Horebeke there. And Tonus, who's putting in a good performance in his first ride back in, what, 4 or 5 weeks? Been off the bike for a month, rode twice before coming here. Just looking at the championship, Gautier, who arrived here 24 points clear of Tony Cairoli, would extend his lead to 41 points over the Sicilian, who is currently in 13th place. Never finished off the podium in all the years he's raced here, Cairoli. That might change today. Neatly done there for the 91 of Seewer. 2 little mistakes early on, and all of a sudden he's got his head down, bit between the teeth, going after the Belgian Van Horebeke, the Honda SR Motor Blues rider, who will think he's gone to sleep and woken up at the 2K, but the difference in speed there, clear to see between the Honda and the Yamaha rider, one getting more distance, more momentum, and in the blink of an eye, Seewer is ready to pounce on 6th place, Van Horebeke. Meanwhile, Gautier still 2.3 seconds clear of Paulin. Similar distance behind is Prado in third. Energy sapping, engine sapping sand here at Lommel. Van Horbik doing well to hang on to that 6th place at the moment. The Honda Privateer looking more than comfortable on these kind of conditions. Doesn't mind a bit of hardpack either, though. Good to see him up there as well, enjoying his time here in Belgium. When you're watching this lot from the comfort of your living room at home, you're probably thinking, oh, these guys, they're not that fast. But when you're trackside and watching the speed that they're going around this racetrack, phenomenal. TV slows everything down, flattens everything out. What you can't see is how big those holes really are, how deep they are, how deep the sand is, and how it just grabs the front and rear wheel. You make a mistake, you get punished. See, we're offline ever so slightly, and it's cost him time again. Cairoli still languishing in 13th place, 5 seconds down on Petr Petrov, the VRT Nord Pesca Holland rider. And actually losing ground to the Bulgarian as we speak. But Gautier continues to lead. He's slightly extended his lead over Paulin, whose times are starting to drop. 2:08.5, 2:09.1. Here is Gautier. Team HRC, +3, focus. Not going to argue over 2 or 3 tenths. Artem Guriev just ahead there. Back marker for JM Honda. Gautier just a heavy landing there. Closes the door on the Russian. Looking neat and tidy at the moment, isn't he? Tim Gautier. Meanwhile, back with Van Horbik and Siwa, who are both closing in on Arno Tonis. Siwa going long. Going to run it down the inside of the Honda man. Siwa does go through. So Siwa now up in the 6th place. So 3 Monster Energy Yamahas inside the top 6 now. Paulin 2nd, Tonis 5 on the number 4, and then the Siwa number 91 machine just here, lead rider in shot. Gautier won here last year. He didn't win a race. 2 second-place finishes. Right, Paulin still there, 2nd place. The lead Monster Energy rider, and he's closing in 2.3 seconds. Is he getting second wind? Just over 10.5 minutes +2 to go. Looking immaculate as always. That's the gap between him and Gautier in the next corner. Both these guys know it's not a sprint, this one here today. Jeremy Siwa getting ready to go by his teammate, and he'll do that in the next 1 or 2 corners, possibly. Can't find a way through there. Saw mistakes in MX2 in that particular corner, trying something different. Almost pushing through there at the top end as Siwa went wide. Good start to the day, though, this for the number 4 of Arno Tonis. Doesn't get the distance there, though, and that's all Siwa needed. So Siwa then Passed his teammate into 5th. And it only looks like a matter of time before Van Horebeke possibly goes through. But what about the battle for the lead? Gautier's lead has shrunk. Gautier Paulin is on a charge. Lost half a second in the first sector, did Paulin, but he's pulled it back in sector 2 and sector 3. We're now in the final sector. The thing is, if Gautier knows he's made a mistake, does he then push to try and rectify that and then force himself into an error? Down the leaderboard here, or is Tony Cairoli? Well, just after pit lane. Still parked there in 13th place. All of a sudden, the gap, 2.5 seconds between Gautier and Paulin. I wonder if Paulin just made a mistake, actually, as he went over the line. Because in 2 corners, he seems to have lost a lot of time. Here's Prado, out on his own in 3rd. He knows 2 good solid rides here. He's tied on the... Actually, he's tied in points with Jeremy Seewer, but then because Seewer has just found his way past Tonus a moment ago, Seewer hanging on by a point to that 3rd place in the championship. And Van Horebeke also finding his way past Tonus. Just had a lap ago. It was only a matter of time, possibly, but can't expect Tonus to set the world alight here, having not ridden for a month. So this is Paulin. This was a mistake a lap ago. Just cost him a little bit of time there, maybe. So he'll try again with just over 7 minutes to go. How do the sectors look now? Lost a full second at sector 1. Pulls back a couple tenths at sector 2. Pulls half a second back at sector 3. Gautier in trouble with a back marker. That'll play into the hands of Paulin. A long, arduous race, this. The toughest race in the world on the calendar in the Motocross World Championship. And he's pulled it back from 2.5 seconds to 1.6. Oh, and Gautier hits the eject button. Gautier throws it away. Paulin is your new leader. What happened there? He just got on the gas and he high slide. Everything looks so good, so smooth, so calculated. Right. So first of all, Gautier got hung up by a back marker and had to go the long way round, but he got the pass, not a problem. And then here, just gets on the gas, folds the front, and both wheels dig in and chuck him over the edge. Castelli is not a happy man. So he just needs to regroup. So Paulin then, your new leader. How much time did Gautier lose in that first sector then as a result of that? 9 seconds. So 5 minutes plus 2 to go. He still looks very composed on the bike. Just one of those things. The front started to go, the back went. And again, the back just coming round. Obviously not sticking to a berm there, but just to dig in like that, just pitch him over the side. Right, here's your new race leader. Gautier Paulin into the final corner. 4.5 minutes to go by the time he hits the line in a minute here. 4:33 on the clock. 11 laps complete for Monster Energy Yamaha. 2:10.034. Let's see where it's been down as well, I think, because got Van Hoorbeek, yeah, just very, very easy to make a mistake there. He's not the first, he won't be the last. So handing a couple of points to Prado probably, or a point maybe in the championship chase. Gautier Paulin looking good at the moment. 3:02, Cornelius Tundell, JDWR Honda. Geiser, 8.9 seconds down, a 2:10 and a 2:20 lap time for the two riders, first and second, after that mistake from Geiser. Tonus under pressure from the number 3 of Romain Fevre. This is for 7th place. Seawer just ahead of him. Well, the recovery time between races. Obviously, these guys will be back here again on Wednesday. When you go practicing and you ride here during the week, of course, maybe it's never as bumpy as this, and you can do your motos and you go home, and then the next time you come back, it's never as bumpy as this. But with MX2 and MXGP on the same track, on the same day, 2 times 35-minute motos or thereabouts, these guys are going to feel it, because you're racing as well. You lift your game by another 10%. Seawer just a little bit loose as he went through that Dragon's Back. Van Hoorbeek just ahead of him again, look. Oi, oi. Leg swag. Just heard a panic rev there a moment ago, but that wasn't for this. Just... ugh. How gnarly are those waves now? Digging down next to nothing. Just G'ing out right in the bottom. Prado, 9 seconds down on Geiser. Geiser in second place. Paulin still 9.8 clear. 2:11, 2:12, 2:12. Your first 3 riders, Paulin, Geiser and Prado. Boger's about 6-7 seconds behind the Spaniard here. Brian Boger's having a fantastic ride. 15th in the championship. 2 8th-place finishes in Spain a week ago, as good as it's been for the Dutch rider. Here's Seawer, but before that we saw Tonus under pressure from Fevre still. So it's taken a lap for Fevre to get past the Swiss rider. A minute to go. These guys making their way past pit lane. So the 2-lap board will go out next time around. Or will it actually? Let's have a look. They are 40 seconds down on the race leader. Yeah, there's Paulin going in the opposite direction. He's already in the waves. So Paulin might just go through with about 2 seconds, 2-3 seconds to spare when he hits the line. Here he is. Oh, they're not going to thank him for that, are they? Ten seconds on the clock, 8 seconds on the clock as Paulin goes through, gives himself and everybody else an extra lap of this racetrack, and he definitely won't be thanking himself either. Geiser in the opposite direction, 9.5 seconds further back, so that gap staying pretty much the same as it was. Back marker down, picks himself up. So 2:26 Tom Cock. 19th place. Second, in the greater scheme of things, still not a bad ride for Gautier, especially when Cairoli is still down there in 13th place. It's not very Cairoli-esque. .219 last time around, so Tony Cairoli, not sure if his knee is giving him jip or if it's just he has no rhythm or something else perhaps, who knows. But 13th place is a massive amount to give to Tim Gautier. I'm impressed with Tonus though today. Still there in 7th place. There's his teammate ahead of him. Oh, Seaward just a little bit offline, out of shape. He's got himself back onto the rear wheel of Van Horebeke. Well, he did until that one little mistake. Boger's already through the split section and over the Dragon's back in 4th place. Two-lap board getting ready to go out any moment now for Gautier Paulin. As Seaward does latch, onto the back wheel of Van Horebeke once again. Hey, Van Horebeke! Did he save it? He must have saved it. Yeah, he did. Heart in the mouth moment there for the number 89, the Jerry man. Seaward just seems to be losing his grip on his foot pegs a lot this race. So watch this, Van Horebeke a moment ago. As we cut away, he was already off the side of the bike. Oh, don't need that with the 2 laps to go, Jezza. Febvre still not able to find his way past Arno Tonus at the moment. Tonus still hanging on for 7th. Febvre 8th. Monster Energy Yamaha versus Monster Energy Kawasaki. There's Seaward going through, just ahead of them. He is still in 6th place. Paulin, 11 seconds clear of Gautier at the head of the field, on course for a first race win in more than 3 years. Since Valkenswaard race 1. And he'll finally lift himself from 21 race wins as well. Here is Paulin. Handful of corners to go. Concentration on point. There's Tony Cairoli. Still got Petrov ahead of him. Normally loves these kind of conditions, the 222. He's parked down there in 13th, but making his way towards the finish line, Gautier Paulin. 2 to go. The 1-lap board getting ready. And goes out now. Here's Tim Gautier. He's in 2nd. Has he made a mistake? Let's have a look. Oh, this is why he lost the lead. Both wheels, and then all of a sudden they slid into the berm, ejected him over the outside, and then that was it. Paulin went through. So, entering the final lap. We've got a problem there. Seaward's start device has hung on. Look at that, the front end has collapsed. Wow, that is not something you see every day. He will know how to free it, but he's going to have to ride around with that. That is a heartbreak for Jeremy Seaward. And there's no way you can jump with that. Look, he's trying to get it to free up, but it's just not working. So Jeremy Seewer out of 6th place. On the final lap as well. And that's what we mean. Paulin went through with 8 seconds to spare. Had that not been the case, and the 2-lap board went out at that point, Seewer would have been home and dry in 6th position. Instead, Tonus now up into 6th, Fevre 7th. Bogus has caught Prado. This is for 3rd. Prado can't afford to relax. Can Bogus contain himself? Well, I think he just went a little bit awry there on the approach to the hill in the background. Meanwhile, Gautier Paulin, 2 corners to go. The Monster Energy Yamaha rider into the final corner. Over the bridge for the final time. And Gautier Paulin wins race 1 here in Lommel. His first race win since Valkenswaard. Race 1, 2017. Gautier over the line in 2nd. Prado 3rd. Bogus just losing out in 4th position. But a fantastic ride for the Dutchman all the same. And Fevre finally finds a way by Arno Tonus on the final lap to move into 5th place, 6th place. But he'll be frustrated at that. Seewer finally frees the front end, but at what cost to him in the championship? Takes a look behind him. Seewer crosses the line in 8th place, so he only lost 2 positions. Quick debrief there for Gautier. Here's Cairoli limping over the line behind Petrov. Fantastic ride for the Bulgarian, but for Tony Cairoli, wow, not something we see every day from the 9-time champ. Well, he's been down. I think that must be a result of the first turn crash, you know, just shaking off that left hand. I think he collided with the Fox Holeshot thing. Anyway, here is Lisa with Gautier Paulin.
Gautier Paulin, a solid, smooth race, right where you needed to be when Gautier made his mistake. You've waited a long time for this race win, first race win in 3 years.
Yeah, you know, I've been winning races, and I saw that I was a bit faster than Tim. I mean, on the same speed, but I was more smooth and better with less mistakes. So I was looking at the time, and I didn't want it to pass Tim early, you know, because he was putting on the rhythm. So I'm really happy with my race. Definitely, I want to thank the full Monster Energy Yamaha for what they do, believing in me, pushing hard. We've had a change on the gearbox last week, and it works out pretty well, you know, on the start. I had decent ride, so now we focus on second moto. Thank you.
Well deserved. Thanks, Gautier.
Gautier Paulin wins the first 16-lap race here at Lommel, the Monster Energy GP of Flanders. He wins by 8.7 seconds over Tim Gautier. Gautier made that mistake, but Paulin was always there, always threatening, and he was closing in at the point that Gautier made that mistake as well. Long overdue race win for Gautier Paulin and Monster Energy Yamaha, but he'll take it. 25 points into race 2. Official confirmation then, Gautier Paulin wins race 1. Tim Gautier 2nd, Jorge Prado 3rd, just from Brian Bogus. Jeremy Van Horbik comes home in 5th. Fevre 6th with their move on Tonus on the final lap. Seewer 8, sorry. Tixier 9. And Van Donnik 10. Desal 11 ahead of Petrov, Cairoli, Bobryshev, Guillaume, and Tano Lea with Michele Chervlin, Tom Cock, Dylan Walsh, Rennie Renico.
De motoren die worden verwacht in de waitingzone om 15 uur voor de MX2-categorie uiteraard. En start om 15 uur en 10.
Take a look at the highlights from MXGP Race 1, shall we? Difficult race for the MXGP riders. And it got off to an explosive start as well, with riders going off at turn 1. Dylan Walsh, I think it was that grabbed the Fox Holeshot. Riders went straight on over the bank as Walsh led the way. But it wasn't long before Gautier made his move and into the lead down the next straight, or the back straight, I should say. A slight error there for Paulin. Dropped him down to 6th place. But he was quickly on the gas, ran the outside of Bogas and Tonus, and then onto the rear of Jorge Prado as Gautier took over the lead from Walsh. 2 corners later, Prado was also through. And into second. Walsh then made a mistake, just here. That allowed Paulin through. Seawer was off track on the opening lap, saved it. But then he started his climb back from 10th. Cairoli, who'd been down at turn 1, picked himself up and was having to do it all again. Paulin, though, not hanging around from 3rd to 2nd with that move on Prado. Meanwhile, Fevre found his way past Jordi Tixier. That put him into 9th as he also started to climb through. De Salle went off track. Lost a position. Eventually came home in 11th place. Jeremy Seawer carving his way past his teammate. And then Gautier lost the lead. Lost both wheels here. They dug in, threw him over the bars. Paulin was right there, ready to pounce. Jeremy Seawer then tipped over again. He'd got up to 5th at that point. And then, going into the last lap, start device jammed on. Tonus and Fevre both went by. Seawer would eventually come home in 8th position. Last lap, Fevre made his move on Tonus to take 6th, but it was Gautier Paulin who won race 1 from Gautier by almost 9 seconds. Take a look at the Fox Holeshot, shall we? Well, this will be interesting, won't it? Dylan Walsh. So Dylan Walsh with his first Fox Holeshot in MXGP. Prado leads the way though on 13. So a little bit of calm before we get going again for race 2. That is in just over an hour's time. Let's take a look at some of the best moments though, shall we, from MXGP race 1. We're off for a break. Join us in an hour's time for MX2 and MXGP Race 2. See you then.